Hello, today I'm going to show you a programming language that I have made, and it's called Electron, okay? And I'm going to go step by step on how to download it, and in the next episode I'll show you how it works. Okay, so first you have to go to my website, and right now on my website there's still going to be more, but this is my website at this current time. So here you can see, to go to my website you have to type in supercoder21.github.io/electron code / So here you can see I made out the documentation. Pretty nice documentation. And now I'll go and let's read it and let's see what to do. So the first thing to do is that you'll see, if you read it, that on step 3 you must go to this link and it sends you to GitHub. Here I have a GitHub repository where you can see 2 files, electron.py, which is 319 pages. So if you don't have too much space left on your computer, I don't recommend you doing it. And then mycode.py, which is only 10. Okay. So what we have to do is that you have to go to any text editor you have, and if you're like me, you probably have Atom. And now we have to go to a new file, and we have to save it as electroncode.py. Okay, now we have to save it as electron.py. Sorry, I said electroncode.py before. And we have to paste what we do. But remember, we have to save it as electron.py, except I already made a file called electron.py, which is right here, that already has it. So when you do it, you have to save it in electron.py, but since I already have the file, I'm not saving anything. Alright, now we can go and we can make a new file, save it as anything you want. I'm saving it as mycode.py. And what I'll do here is I'll go to mycode.py and I will get this and I'll put it right here. So you see, I already made a pretty nice example for you so you can use my code. And what we're going to do now that we made this mycode.py, here, let me just show you the example first, what it'll do, so you can see how that it works. And here, so here, it works. And just to show you, you can see that it says say hello, calc this, type, bloop. So that's some pretty funky notation. I'm going to go to it line by line to show you how it works. First, we say hello. But first, we need to note about these things right here. You can see I have this weird 5, this weird hello, this weird plus operator. I have whatever this means. I have this, and let me just add one more line of code. I will also now have and you can see if I do this and you go back here and wait, so you go here, you see that I'm just including one more type here. So you see, this is basically what it is. First, it says say hello. Note that all functions, and if you're doing Python, you probably know what a function is already, but if you're not, this is what a function is. So like, a function in Python could be like print, so I can say print hello. Functions basically do stuff. So print hello, we'll get this hello object, and also functions, at least not all functions in Python, but all my functions in this programming language, they have to have some parameters to them, which means inside the function there has to be something the function's operating on. So here I'm going to put a print statement, and the print is operating on this hello. And just imagine this hello as some text. Don't see this quotation marks. Pretend the quotation marks are gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this hello, and we're going to put it on the screen. We're going to show it on the screen. If we simply type in hello, and I try doing this, nothing will happen. It won't work. And you can see there's a hello here, but that's just because that's the running of my code, which has say hello. So functions can do stuff. I can have a function like print. I'm just going to use print, and I can just put 5, and you can see here print 5 here, up here. So you can see that it prints 5 right over here. And I can also print hello. And you might be asking, wait, I put my code here, and when I put the hello, I'll show you what you mean. I'm actually going to put bye because I already have a hello in my code. No, sorry. I'll put sorry. You can see that the sorry comes first. I wonder why it's that. Now, a little off topic here. The reason that's happening is that this code that you're actually making, so for any people who are doing Python, once they write this code and they want to do Python things, the Python things will always happen before they write the code. And that's because here, and for people who don't really know Python, you can just ignore this part. But for Python people, the reason why that's happening is because I am basically making a function that compiles this all down to real code, and that function happens after this print statement, so that's why. That's just a note if you want to do something like that. Alright, so now let's actually get started. Let's figure out how to do it. So after we've set this up, we need to see some rules. Anything with something in between it means anything with parentheses like around it, that's an operator, and that has to be an operator. It can't be anything else. And don't worry, when we put parentheses around it, the computer will just ignore the parentheses. They will just see what's inside of them. And if that thing that's inside of them is a plus, multiply, divide, or subtract. Now you might, if you know more than all these, you might be like, oh, how about powering? Can we do powering? No, we cannot. In my programming language, the only operators we have plus, multiply, divide, and subtract. But don't be worried. We also have functions that can do powering for you, such as square, which can multiply a number times another number. Then there's an integer. Well, not an integer, a whole number. So this, for example, the computer will see as 5. That's pretty easy. Also, if you just put this as an operator, don't worry, the computer won't think it's factorial because we also have a function for that. Finally, there is going to be at least in the things you probably will use the most, there is this. This means text or a string. Now, text and string is a little difficult because in text and string, you can put whatever you want. I guess you can put numbers in that. But you can't put spaces, and you can't put this or that. You can't put any special characters, but you can put numbers and strings, no spaces. Sorry about that. Alright. So now, this basically means this equal sign is not part of the code. It's just what it's telling it is. So this hello, basically, the computer will read as hello. And finally, there's something you might not use. This basically means expressions. So imagine for Python users, imagine you're using a loop from range 0 to 10, and every time you get, if first you get 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. You might see in this programming language, when you actually use a loop, it does not ignore the first, it does not subtract the last number by 1. People who don't know Python, you can just ignore what I'm saying right now. And every number it gets, now this is what you have to listen to people who don't know Python. every number it gets, we're going to subtract by 10. At least that's what this expression means. So this is only used in loops. And just to show that what I mean, for people who don't know Python, a loop can basically, at least in my language, what it can do is that it can iterate between numbers. So if you have this integer 1 and this integer 10, it will loop between them. So we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and finally 10. And every number it gets, it's going to add 10 by it and then put it on the screen. So you get 1, it will plus it by 10. So don't think of this as a positive 10. And that's why I usually use examples like this, so you won't think of it as positive 10. So this is saying multiply 10, we get 1, we multiply by 10, we get 2, we multiply by 10, we get 3, we multiply by 10. So yeah, that's kind of useful. Then there's also another thing, and people who know Python, this next part of the loop, it's basically steps. So so basically if it's 1, it will just be correct. You have to put steps, people know Python. But if you don't know Python, you can just ignore this, but you have to remember to always put it. Alright. Next is negative whole numbers. So here we can put -5 and it will be -5. Here we have these @ symbols around it. And ignore that this @ blue, that's just part of what Python does. Finally, we have floats and negative floats. So floats and negative floats, I think, explain themselves, but for non-Python users, that means negative decimals and positive decimals. So for negative decimals, we have to put think of, you know, these greater than and equal to symbols. We have to put the greater than symbol and then the less than symbol. And that will have a negative float in between it, so like -5.5 and -5.4. Or we could put a less than symbol, then a greater than symbol. Anything inside of it will be a positive decimal. Alright, so that's a lot of what to do. Then there's some functions, but I don't think we have enough time for that, so you can just go read the documentation, which is at supercoder21.github.io/electroncode/ and you can go there and you can figure out how to do this. Alright, till then, bye!